said, don't be alarmed. I got to pull up. I still have workout shorts on. I got to take your shorts off, but we're going to put stents in through your leg, through your artery in your leg. I just don't want you to be alarmed. I need to shave your upper leg and kind of pubic area. And then, to be a smart ass, I looked at her and said, you might be surprised.
Rodeo time.
Hey, hit that subscribe button now. You're going to like it. Welcome to the Luke Branquino Show. Today, I'm actually going to step out and have a guest host the Luke Branquino Show. But the best part is who he is going to interview is amazing. This guy's a stud. The guy that this guy's going to interview, he's a stud. He knows his stuff and is just a really witty, funny guy. But anyway, the guest host, Flint Rasmussen, thank you for hosting the Luke Branquino Show. Go ahead and introduce your guest when you get a chance. After you get done talking about you, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to introduce my guest today. It's the, I don't know how many world titles he's won, but his butt's a lot smaller than it used to be. And he's a pretty good guy. And I always thought it should be pronounced Branquino because you don't say mosquito, but it's not Spanish, right?
Oh,
it's not Spanish.
It's Portuguese. Yeah. But going back to your shirt, folding your laundry and all that, I had a bag of clothes. I got her in Rodeo, rehabbed, got hurt again in September. Well, I had a bag of clothes that I had to get clean. They just stunk. So I, start unloading them before I go and have surgery. I'm like, okay, which at that time I kind of knew it was it. That was done. Lindsay and I had talked about it. But I take these shirts to the dry cleaners, my sponsor shirts. And I'm like, maybe I'll just get them cleaned and pressed just in case I decide to come back. I was looking in the closet the other day and I had them hung up there, and again that emotion just hit me like, I'm never gonna wear these again. Yeah. It's crazy how little things like that.
Did you go, those sponsors are never gonna pay me again? Is that
No, I have great sponsors and they're still on board with me since I'm doing broadcasts in the Luke Branquino Show and social media left, right.
And that's a bigger picture too. You got to set yourself up to give yourself a chance to be successful when you are no longer successful at what you've been doing all those years. And we can only hope that it translates over. My big goal has been, we do this. I've done my Outside the Barrel show at the NFR for years, which you've been on. I'll probably, let's plan on it December, since you're now at HOF.
Yeah.
Hall
right.
of Famer.
Oh, look.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Show me. Could you? Oh, nice. Is that you on that bucketer?
That is me, actually. Yes.
Yeah. But like my goal has been, I want it to translate to, hey, let's turn on the podcast or let's go to Outside the Barrel. Hey, it's Flint. Not, hey, look, it's Flint with no makeup. Oh my God. Right. I'll occasionally get comments. I do a Tuesday night Facebook Live deal, which has become really successful for us. It's real cool. We treat it like a show. We run graphics and videos and different things. But there'll be that random person. They can comment as you go. It says, oh, I didn't recognize you without your makeup. Shut up. Like, why don't you put your makeup on? Ugh. Like, I'd like it to be
separate.
This is now when people look, it's Flint. Look, Flint's on the broadcast. Good for him. Not, where's your makeup?
Right. Well,
sorry. Not everybody talks like this. But anyway, go ahead. Bob Tallman.
But hearing your voice, you could come across the speaker at a rodeo or a PBR, and they're like, hey, that's Flint. Same with what Bob Tallman has done with his voice inside the arena. And that to me is shown, how much you've had how much involvement you had and how much people have loved everything you've done when they hear that voice and boom, that's Flint. You know what I mean?
That's weird. It's only been in the last couple of years that I realized that. I'll be like in a grocery store and somebody will go, are you Flint? Yeah. Well, I didn't recognize you, but I was up the aisle and I heard your voice.
Right.
Went, what? Like that never dawned on me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's silky smooth.
It is.
Not as silky smooth as my brother, Will. Luke Branquino, one of the nice guys. You can go to a lot of rodeos and not see a 3.8. Luke Branquito. Never better, Luke. Never.
Hey,
how's that?
that was spot on like usual. Spot on like usual.
Yeah.
But having the voice is what it's all about.
But when you really think about it, it's almost rodeo announcers there's a few that sound similar, but when you start separating, like on TV, like now we all know Joe Beaver's voice when he's commentating the NFR. He's great, and, Butch and Jeff. It's not that traditional live arena rodeo announcer. The live arena rodeo announcer has certain inflections, certain things they need to cover, and excitement they need to cover. But TV guys, it's a little more, that. Like,
look
we're
at John
talking.
Madden. You could hear John Madden's voice today, and these kids could hear John Madden's voice because of the Madden game on PlayStation. And they're like, hey, that's John Madden. I mean, that's the impact that the voices have, which is neat.
I'm still, speaking of voices, my favorite thing, if I'm on an evening or nighttime drive in the summer, I listen to baseball games on the radio. And in the fall, if I can find a Packers game, or I listen to games on the radio still, because the great ones paint a picture moving left to right on our radio dial. The wind coming out of the right, the Packers in their white road jerseys with the green letters and the gold helm. It's the best. And you learn those voices of certain teams, of certain leagues. I mean, I have flashbacks when I hear, they're all those football announcers, John Madden and Pat Summerall. And now it's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I mean, it's voices, and you hope you make that impact on people. Anyway, we got off on that too.
But you have, that's what I was getting at. You have made that impact, so people don't just think of the makeup, them sons of bitches.
Yeah. Dick Enberg. That's why, if you're watching a Broncos game when I was in like high school, it was Dick Enberg, man. He's the best. You were
your guy.
I know. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Well, that's who did all their TV games. It was Mile High Stadium, Dick Enberg and John Elway with bad knees. I mean, come on.
But he hobbled.
Oh, unreal, that guy. Yeah.
What did he finally win? He end up winning 2 Super Bowls, right?
I think so. Yeah, he won a couple. Yeah, he one of the greatest. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
All right.
I'm a football guy. I love football.
And Broncos, is that your team?
No, not really. I don't mind the Broncos. I have a good friend that plays linebacker for the Broncos now.
Oh yeah.
He was our leading tackler last year, Alex Singleton.
Well, no offense to Alex, but it probably didn't take many tackles to be the leading tackler.
Shut your whore mouth. He like set a record for solo tackles in a game. Well, yeah, because nobody else was tackling.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he's a California guy. He's from Thousand Oaks, but he played at Montana State, and then
Well, then the D line probably was just letting everybody through, so he just, I'll get them, guys. I got them. Oh, can't say that. I can't remember his name. Dalton Reeser plays for the Broncos, or I don't know if he still is, but I got to meet him. He played at Kansas State. Real good guy. I met him through the Huas. I don't know if you're familiar with the Huas out in Colorado, but great family, and they do a really big thing. Anyway, he was an awesome guy, but the Broncos are. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, living in Montana, it's funny. People will say, what do you guys do? It must suck living in Montana. You don't have a pro team. Like, who do people cheer for? Whoever your team is as you grow up. I think it's more fun because, I remember when I was a kid, my friend Brody, his team was the Steelers. And then my brother Pete, his team was the Raiders. We all had these different teams, and it was fun. See, people in Montana, they go to Broncos games or go to Seahawks games or go to Vikings games because it's easy access.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun.
Whose horse I rode a lot, Gunner. They're big Seattle fans because it's not that far from Dillon to,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway.
A lot of people don't know. Well, maybe they do, but I want to talk about it anyway. You, at one point, were just getting in shape, riding on the treadmill, and boom, down with a heart attack. A lot of people don't know that. But you weren't in horrible shape when that happened.
I was in great shape. I thought of this. I've been biking lately around town. I have about a 16, 17 mile bike loop through town and
Dang.
that I go on. And my girls finally got on me that I have a little pocket in my shorts. I always put my driver's license in.
Wait. Before you keep going, did they tell you to get a life alert?
No, they have not told me to get life alert.
Sorry.
I should. But they get on me about I don't carry my phone, but I do carry my ID. But I was in really good shape. It was March 11th, 2009.
Right.
So it's been that. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, 2009. So it's been a while. I was home, and funny thing, our treadmill had just broken at home the week before. And I set up these stations where we go a minute. And I got my wife at the time, Katie, we were doing these stations. And I had been looking back. I didn't think much of it at the time. I'd been struggling a little bit, thinking I was getting old because I couldn't finish workouts that I'd normally had done. I asked her one day if she had put the incline on the treadmill because I couldn't. It was just really tough. I remember talking to my mom. God, maybe it's getting close to time to quit. I can't push myself as hard. This sucks. So we're doing all these stations, and I'm doing this recumbent bike thing, and she's talking to me. You understand when wives want to talk, they talk.
Right.
And I'm like, don't talk to me right now. I'm working out. I'll never forget. She said, I've heard that if you can't carry on a conversation while you're working out too hard. I said, well, people who really work out can't talk during. She's like, never mind. I'm done. I'm going to do some stuff in the office, other end of the house. So I finish and I'm cooling down on this stationary bike, trying, but I mean, I'm like breathing so hard, and I go get a big drink of water and I start like throwing up, dry heaving. And I'm like, through all my years, I was an athlete. I was a football, basketball, track guy. So I'd been through every workout. Running 8 200s in track, and never had thrown up ever working out. I wasn't a puker.
Right.
I start throwing up. And then out here, it starts to shake a little. And then down, it was like I was drinking boiling water. And then it was down in my arm. And I went to her and I said, I don't know what's going on, but I am not good. Well, maybe I should just drive you to the hospital. Kind of. And I just went to the garage and got in the car. I thought so she can't find me. So she opens the garage and looks out and she said, really? I'm like, so here's the thing. I won't carry on too much, but when she had said, if you can't talk, you're working out, I said, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get out of your comfort zone and do these stations. So we're going 90 miles an hour in our minivan. We lived 11 miles out of a little small town, but had a hospital. And we're about 4 miles in. I have my feet on the dash and I keep grabbing her because my arm hurts so bad.
Oh,
and I'm sweating, and she looks over me and she goes, so did you get out of your comfort zone, you think? And I did this. No kidding. I went. That's all I did. God, no.
I'm dying here, and you want to make jokes.
Literally. Yeah. And so I got helicoptered to Great Falls, stents put in. And it never really dawned on me. I never really accepted what was going on. Like, I remember in the ER, the lady said, Flint, you're having a heart attack. And I went, you have got to be shitting me. Like, really? And then the doctor came in a couple days. Next day, I was in ICU, and he came and said, you almost died today. And they explained to me, like, I had all my friends were going, well, we're not going to work out. Look what happened to you.
Yeah, right.
But they told me, honestly, I had major blockage on the main, like the one that kills everybody.
The Widowmaker.
Yeah. They said because I was in such great shape. For one, the stents they put in were the biggest ones. So my arteries were huge. And what happens to look at me, medical information.
Yes.
What happens is your heart, nature has done this. Your heart will start to bypass itself. So it's sort of like, I look at it as there's a creek running through my place and a beaver dams it up, and the water finds a way around.
Right.
And it had started to do that. So they said you had what we call backfill into these other arteries that kept your heart beating. And that was all from working out and being in great shape.
Wow.
So there you go. Yeah. Weird. I think about it every day.
Well,
I think about it every day.
Well, but how can you not? I mean, it was, maybe hours, minutes, I don't know, from you being 6 feet in the ground instead of talking to me right now.
From the time all the symptoms set in, we drove 11 miles. They stabilized me, helicoptered me. The hospital in Choteau, Montana called Great Falls and said, don't admit him. Don't send him to the ER. This is what's going on. Go straight to the cath lab. So they took me into the cath lab, and you'll like this. I remember looking up and there was a nurse over the top and said, Flint, you've had a heart attack. And it was dark. It was like this light here. She said, don't be alarmed. I got to pull up. Yeah, I still had workout shorts. I got to take your shorts off, but we're going to put stents in through your leg, through your artery in your leg. I just don't want you to be alarmed. I need to shave your upper leg and kind of pubic area. And then, to be a smart ass, I looked at her and said, you might be surprised. And she's like, oh my God. So when my wife finally got there, they couldn't even find me. I didn't even have a bracelet on. I'm an ice, like, that's how. So it was like from beginning to stents in my heart was like 2 hours. Like, it was crazy. Anyway, I'm telling you, I haven't told the story in a while. So yeah.
But I guess not the luxury, but the being your name, being what people, know Flint Rasmussen in a small community helped. I mean, in my opinion, it helped get everything expedited through.
Completely. So Katie's mom, my former mother-in-law, worked in the lab at the hospital. So Katie called her and said, we're going to be pulling into the ER in about 5 minutes. So she went and said, everybody come to the door. Connection, it was connections. I knew the nurse. My girls went to school with her kids. I knew. And so it's hard on people in small towns because you usually, if there's a car wreck or a heart attack, you know who it is, which is tough. But on the other hand, it's connections. I've told my, and I'm sure you've told your boys this. I tell my girls all the time, life, no matter what you do in life, you can be successful, you can be a winner, you can win buckles, but it's about relationships and connections. And the people that argue with that and say it's bullshit don't have the ability to make connections and relationships. Exactly right. My daughter Paige, she's a college national champion goat tire, greatest goat tire I've ever seen. That was her one goal. She wasn't addicted to being a cowgirl. She was addicted to winning, right? And strived. 2 days later, after the college finals, she flies to Boston. She's at MIT doing an internship in the brain center there, in the brain lab. And there was a connection with somebody that just gave a recommendation. She deserves to be there. Shelby's working, coached at Montana State, now is with Learfield Sports, knows everything there is to know about rodeo. They're starting a rodeo division in Learfield Communications, and she's heading it up. So anytime you can walk up and they go, oh, Shelby, we know you, instantly you have a foot in that door that you wouldn't have had. And people who don't like that don't get it.
Right.
That's a fact. So anyway.
Well, and fortunately, even for my kids, I'll go do a school. We had a guy I met that came to a clinic. He was a professional baseball player. And we were just talking, and I had Cade with me up in Illinois. And I was like, yeah, he plays baseball. He's like, oh, what position? Catcher. He's like, that's what I did. I played catcher. Anytime you want lessons. And that's just being able, like I said, having a foot in the door, knowing, having the name. And you're right. Anybody who says that doesn't agree with that, it's BS, because it's beneficial for sure.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, when we're in this business, our kids do meet more people because we're in it already. Right. We have buckles, And however, the thing about rodeo, especially, like, I remember people, my kids put up with some shit from high school rodeo parents. Hard to believe.
I could bet. Yeah.
But the thing about rodeo is you can know all the people you want, but you still got to win.
Yeah.
It's not you still got to win.
Right.
And so Yeah, it's funny. Speaking of baseball, and I don't take credit for this. It's just funny how connections happen through our PBR world. There's we became through Andy Watson and introduced me to this guy named Everett Teaford. And he was a pitcher and he pitched up and down in the major leagues and AAA. Great, great guy. Loved coming to PBRs. We finally did a bunch of stuff with him in California. We ended up all being friends. So Everett becomes the minor league overseer of minor league pitchers in the White Sox organization. Well, my sister's son, so my nephew, is played at Nevada, ends up coaching baseball in Arizona, and then becomes the head pitching coach at BYU. So I put him in touch with my friend Everett to send him kind of some stats they're using and analytics to just help him out. Can you help out my nephew Michael? He's brilliant, great mind, 6'4", good looking, like me. Anyway,
you're 5'8".
Yeah. So there's a shakeup at BYU. The coach has some controversy in there. The staff might be in trouble. I get a phone call from Everett. Hey, what's going on there with Michael at BYU? I don't know. Here's his number. My nephew Michael is now the rehab pitching coach for the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, wow.
And I don't take credit for it, but it's a roundabout way that there's connection.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
deserving of being there, of course. But
I think too, all sports have those connections. But I think in the rodeo side of it, it's a more genuine down home connection, if that makes sense. Like, we're true blue. They feel like the rodeo athletes are true blue. The people around it are true blue, and they feel more of a family connection. I don't know what the connection is, but it's more genuine, a genuine connection.
I know that other professional athletes, when they come to a PBR or come to a rodeo, it's cool for us because they're in our world,
right?
But they appreciate that they're athletes, but they're just guys.
Yeah,
they're he doesn't have a 35,000 square foot cabin at the Yellowstone Club in Montana that Tom Brady does, by the way.
Cabin.
It's different. I think they appreciate that when they come there, we're working our asses off like they do, but we're really, we're just guys. We're just people. We're not usually starstruck. We're not, so there's an appreciation. I think that's what fans have towards rodeo athletes, bull riding, Western sports athletes. I think that's what other athletes have towards Western sports athletes too.
I agree 100%. Well, Flint, I appreciate you hosting the Luke Branquino show and this amazing guest you had on there. I mean, I think we're probably need to get him back on and have you, guest host again because
yeah. wait.
I'm gonna exit out of this, but I'll let you take it away.
Well, I recall a time you were on my podcast.
Right. According to Flint podcast.
According to Flint podcast, everywhere where podcasts are available. And we also have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to and maybe win a Stone Glacier backpack. I don't know. You remember you did that like 5 times.
You give gifts away? Hey, Jen, we're going to need to give gifts away.
I don't know.
Flint's.
We drink.
There you go. See?
Yeah, we got Pendleton whiskey and backpack. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, we do. Yeah, I'm proud of. We do one every other week, and Logan and Bo help me, and we cover everything from country music singers, comedians to pro athletes, but a lot of Western sports. A lot like you do. We overlap guests, which happens in Western sports, but it's fun to do, and we do a Tuesday night live broadcast when we're home, and so that occupies that part of my mind. It's going to be a hard transition and some hard times, as you know, you and I. That's why I like talking to you, because the look in our eyes is kind of the same, where we're happy, but there's a little something missing. And before I go, I'll say I have one of my best friends in Choteau, Montana, is a guy named Mark Fellows, one of the greatest Montana State Bobcats of all time. 1984 national champ, All-American, drafted by the San Diego Chargers, was going to be a starter and played a little and broke his hip and ended his career. And I was at his house a few weeks ago, and our girls are friends. And I said, yeah, I'm just going to have to find something to replace that crowd feedback. And he just looked at me and said, you never will.
Right.
It'll never happen. What you have to do is learn to live with it while pursuing something else that brings you joy, but you'll never replace that. He's right, but we just need to find something else to bring us joy. And this is part of it. You bring me joy, Luke.
Well,
this was great.
Thank you, Flint. Yeah. And wise words, and I'm going to use those words actually.
Iron sharpens iron.
That's it. I've used that one a lot too. Anyways, so everybody that is watching this, make sure to go to According to Flint podcast. It's right there. It says it right there behind him if you can't see it or if you can't read. Right. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I think you got it.
Oh, you mean there? Yeah.
Flint, thank you for coming on. I've enjoyed knowing you for as long as I've known you. I've enjoyed watching you, but even more now, I'm enjoying working with you on PBR teams, on CBS Sports, Pluto TV, CBS broadcast, and everything.
Likewise. Yeah, you're a good friend, man. I appreciate it.
Likewise, I appreciate it. Flint, thanks for joining us. We'll get you on as a guest host again sometime.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.